disturb people. I need to be not disturbed. Okay.
I think we're a little too late for that, Sarah.
Well, that's true. So I'm in my upstairs, and you can see my mirror. So you can, if I move too much, you can see my booty shaking.
Oh, you need to do hump day, bump day there.
Oh, that's a good idea. Did you see yesterday? I was so mad that it wasn't working. I had Merritt for a second. She was watching.
No, I didn't.
My technical difficulties were so bad that, first of all, I couldn't get the song to play. So finally, I just told Google. Google's attached to Jay's Spotify. So I'm like, oh, why? I've been trying to make it work on my Spotify and attach my phone. I'm like, duh, why don't I just say, hey, Google, play? And then Jake runs in the room and he's like, Arrow's listening to Spotify. So he was listening to like a nighttime story in his room. And I said, hey, Google, play. What was I even? It was, what is it called? It was From the Windows to the Walls. What is that song called? Yeah. What is that called?
I can't do it right now.
I can't think of the words. Anyway, I was like, hey, Google, play that. And I'm like, oh my gosh. She's like, no. So it was madness.
You know,
but
Arrow's got to learn.
I think he'd have fallen asleep, so it was fine. And it was funny, it like automatically played the bleeped version, so I took it.
Oh, perfect.
Okay. Let's get to it.
First, I have to showcase these earrings that Emmeline bought for me.
Oh, they're so cute.
Like a little like outdoor craft thing, and she and Jed were trying to be all sneaky, and she went and bought me these earrings.
Did you know they were doing it?
What? Well, no, I saw that. I saw that she was overlooking at stuff. I was like, oh, I kind of wanted to check this one out too, so let me go look. Mm-hmm. And Jed's like, come here. And I was like, I'm fine. I'm not like being a helicopter mom. I just genuinely want to see what she's looking at and like appreciate her being Miss Little Independent. And finally he calls me over and I was like, what? He's like, just don't be over there right now. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then I realized, but I was like, I wasn't like, I thought he was trying to tell me to not be a helicopter mom because he tries to claim that I am when I don't believe that I am. I'm going to take myself off the internet real quick because even though I got better internet, you're glitchy. So I want to see if it's on my end.
Okay. Am I still glitchy? What a glitch.
See, you're back though.
Okay. Guess who's back? Back again. Shady theme for life. I can't get this thing to like stay in the right place. Anyway.
How much coffee did you have?
2 cups. 2 cups. 2 cups. Johnny, 2 cups. All right.
Okay. You ready?
Yes. Who's gonna start?
I have no idea. I can start, but I don't mind either way.
What is the last? Who started the one before? What is it before this? The product is the boost before this?
No, maybe.
Is this the first week in
May? Maybe it is. Yes, but go ahead.
Okay.
Okay. Oh,
I started recording.
Why?
I don't know. My habit is bad. Stop. Okay. Sorry. You tell me when to record.
1, 2, trace, record.
Okay. Ready?
What? Oh shoot! No, I'm not. Oh my gosh! Wait a sec.
We're out of it. When's the last time we recorded? We missed a week, and this is what we're.
I have headphones in, so give me a sec.
No problem. You can see the strands that my mom missed when she cut my bangs.
Oh, no, computer, and I was like, I'm not even talking. Okay. Okay, we're ready.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Madness. All right. Welcome back to another episode of the In Raw Life podcast. I cannot get close to my microphone without this thing being in the way. You know what? Screw it. I will not have a popper offer today. I'll start again. Welcome back to another episode. What?
So remember last week we started doing the front loading the episode instead of back.
Oh, sure. Okay. Oh, right. Okay. Welcome back to another episode of the In Raw Life podcast. We are super excited you're here today. And actually, we're excited that you're here for this month because this month is going to be something so beautiful. It's going to be so raw, at your core, gut hitting fantasticness. It's all about self-awareness and bettering yourself. It's not a self-help book. It's even better because it's Jessica and I giving you lots of love to help you love who you are deep on the inside. So we'll get kicked off on our first topic very soon. But first, we want to thank you for always coming back, listening to the podcast. And we just want to ask you now, take a minute, subscribe wherever you're listening, hit the rating, hit 5 stars for us so we can share this podcast and help it to grow.
And if you can leave a review too, because that helps other people find us and know, hey, these girls are really, really awesome.
Are we doing Instagram too?
Yeah.
Or no? And if you want to follow us on Instagram, check us out at inrawlife.co.
Where you can also share us in your stories. You can send us to your friends. You can comment, like us, interact with us there, and we will be super excited to connect with you.
I'm so glad you picked up what I was putting down.
I always do, girl.
I love it. We're a great team. Okay.
We are.
So before we get into the episode, let's go over our rawities for the day or the week or whatever the case may be. So, Jess, what is your rawality check?
Oh man, I feel like I'm like cross-eyed thinking about my rawality check.
Oh no, is it that bad?
No, it's not bad. I'm just like, I have so many highs, but I'm also feeling low in other parts of my life right now still. And it's just like this like weird juxtaposition and like how, I mean, it's life. That's how it is. But you know, our in-raw life is doing so awesome and things are great and I love my job and Emily and I are doing so good and she's doing good in school. We just had an entire week of my dad and stepmom being in town too, which was exactly what I needed. And I really hope that we can convince them to move here because I think that our lives would just be that much more enjoyable and rich. But then there's still just like, I don't know, I just still I have like this like weird funk sitting somewhere at the bottom corner of my heart or my life or something. And I'm just like confused. I realized I really, I know I've talked about it for years and I've never gone to therapy by myself, but I really want to do it. And I almost started, this is so me. I almost started writing notes the other day. Like I have these few things where I'm like, I mean, what am I going to talk to you about a therapist? Like, I know it's good for you and I know that I should no matter how I feel, but like, what are we actually going to talk about? And then I like have these random things. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I should write that down for when I go to therapy.
That is 100% you. Oh my gosh.
I know. I feel like I need to go to a therapist who other therapists go to. Because I think I therapize myself so much that like, and I'm so like, I can see both sides of the coin always. And I'm so introspective and all of that, I need someone who's going to really go there with me and get more out of me. Mm-hmm. Or else it's just not going to be as effective. And so like I keep wanting to like go research therapists in the area that would be really good, but I'm like, I need to wait until my divorce goes through finally, so I can get my own health insurance and get with somebody. Because I don't want to like start with the current health insurance and change the week and then have to switch. Yeah. But I am making that a priority, that once that happens and once I get my own health care, I'm going to make the time, no matter what, fit into my schedule so that I can go there.
Sorry, I need to shut this. The cat is in the window and it's open and there's a lot of weird noises happening out there. So I'm totally listening to you. I just get distracted by the noises. So please don't think I'm not listening. But I feel like, you know how when we talk to people that are usually Enneagram 3s and we're like, look, we want to help you get your life together. And they're like, no,
have it together.
Life together. That's exactly what you sound like with therapy. Oh, it's okay because I therapize myself.
But I know that I need to go. Like I'm self-aware enough that I know that I want to and need to go.
Well,
but I feel like I need somebody who's going to go further. Like who's going to get it.
It is, you have to find a good therapist for sure. And it's hard to do. It's like takes work for sure. But also as somebody who has gone to therapy, because I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. So I'm just going to say, I've recommended a lot of people go to my therapist that I went to back in Florida. And I was telling him about one person who didn't really want to go because what else could they possibly talk about? And my therapist was like, they don't need to come in with something to talk about. We will get to something to talk about. And he was so good about it. He always figured out something to talk about because he would ask you the questions that matter. And so I think finding a good therapist, you don't have to come in with notes. But I mean, you can.
Well, yeah. Well, I guess, I'm reflecting back on, like, we went to 2 or 3 different marriage counselors. And then, like, I've tried to take Emmeline, but, like, it was such a short amount of time that, and other people involved. And it's like, I just felt like they weren't getting anything out. So that's what makes me nervous. I'm like, okay, how do I find the right therapist?
Yeah.
Oh,
you're also, in both of those situations, you were with some people that may not have wanted to share, and you were willing to share and work on improving yourself. So I don't think it's going to be a challenge of getting it out of you, but it is going to be a matter of.
No, it won't be a challenge. It's the approach. That's what, that's what, it's not going to be hard to get it out of me. It's just, I don't know. I know that I want it and need it, but I don't know what it is that I need it for. So I need this person to know what to look for and how to approach it. Yeah.
It stinks that, like, you have to go therapist shopping because it costs money. Like, church shopping is free. Therapist shopping is expensive. And you really do. Like, I went to this one therapist when I first got to Florida, and I felt like I was in an acting class. Like, she wanted me to go over and touch each scarf and act like a child with the scarf. And what would 8-year-old Sierra say with this scarf? And I'm like, I was just presenting at that point. I'm like, I'm just acting for you. Like, I'm going to say whatever you need me to say to make this stop. So it was weird.
I hope that if I run into that situation, I hope that I have the courage to say, I'm sorry, this isn't working, and just walk out.
That's true.
Because that is the smarter thing to do, right? Like, we totally have that. Yeah.
No.
Okay.
So
what's your?
Okay. Mine. It's funny. I'm kind of in the same position. Oh, wait. I had one more thought on your reality. I realized this about myself too, that after I visit people, I get down. Like after I do vacation or like see my.
It was going into Georgia.
Oh, it was before that. Okay. Yeah. Well, then never mind.
So that was like the band-aid.
Yeah. I gotcha. Well, mine is kind of similar, but not. I don't know. I like it's a great week. Like you said, everything within our life is going well. I'm just so happy to be in New Jersey. I love my house. I love my bed. I can do anything good.
I love my whole life.
I love my elephant.
Love that video.
Some people are listening like, what are you talking about? But
it's called like Jessica's Amazing something, right? It's a little girl named. Yeah, look it up. It's not me, Jessica, but it is a cute little curly haired Jessica who's probably an adult by now, I think.
She is. I saw her on, I've seen her be interviewed now.
But yeah, if you're listening and you don't know what we're talking about, or you do know what we're talking about, and you just need like a little break of minute uplift, go check out Jessica's Daily Act.
Jessica. Yes. So anyway, I really am so happy with where we're at. And Arrow has been like a little bit trying lately. Yesterday was weird. He kept sneaking things. He's not a sneaky kid. And I don't know if like he's seeing Gray being sneaky. I mean, but Gray is already sneaky.
Still around 4 or 5. Emlyn wasn't until around 4 or 5.
But like, I know I have friends that have like 2 and 3-year-olds that are sneaky. So it's just him coming to, I think he's either coming into it or he's seeing Gray be sneaky and he's learning it from him, because he just never tried to be sneaky before. So he snuffed chocolate yesterday. He's banned from treats until he poops in the potty. I mean, he poops in the potty, but he starts in his pants every time. I don't want that on there. I feel bad. I don't want to like totally exploit this kid. But anyway, he snuck candy the other day. Last night he's usually sneaky in a good way. Like he'll sneak folding clothes and be like, "Come here," and I'll come in and I'll be like, "Aww." And then he like came to me. He's like, "Mama, I threw the clothes everywhere." I'm like, "No, you didn't." And he goes, "Come here," and I was expecting to see them folded. No, they're thrown everywhere. And I was so mad because we just spent all afternoon organizing them together, and it was like pulling teeth. So like that part's frustrating, but I'm still like, I don't even care. I'm unfazed because like life is so good and my mental health is so strong that I don't like these things that could otherwise really frustrate me aren't. And then, but the flip side is that it's been a bit of an emotional week, like in a good way, like in a self-realization way. Like I'm just coming to like, because life is so good, I can start to understand parts of myself a little bit deeper. And I mean, I'm probably also PMSing, but I've like cried a couple times this week, which I love when I cry because I feel like, okay, this is not a normal thing. So what is this telling me about myself? And I like can explore that more. And so I feel like this week has been like a week of growth because I'm much more, because everything else is falling into place so easily, I have time to be aware of myself and become more self-aware so that I can make improvements. Which is,
well, that is perfect.
Right?
For our episode today.
Crazy.
I love that though. Yeah, I'm with you there because like how I'm saying it's like a little tiny corner somewhere that feels out of place. It's because I'm so, and I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I'm definitely very mentally and emotionally strong so that even though those things, well, I don't want to come across as like, oh, well, I'm mentally strong and emotionally strong. But because I've worked on it so much, so I do have that strength that is carrying through. That's why it's such a little corner instead of like taking over everything instead, and shading it.
Yeah.
So good.
Well, I mean, mental health, I don't think it's about perfectionism. It's about working. Like you and I both have been working on our mental health in different ways for so long. So it's just showing that like hard work is paying off. So I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I think any form of health is always a work in progress.
It's so true. Got it.
You're making me like go like this.
Where is it? Anyway, so our topic today is self-awareness, and there's a second part.
Personal responsibility.
See, we are the yin and yang of each other today. I am aware that I am incomplete without you.
Aww. Yeah, but they definitely go hand in hand. Like as you look up TED Talks or whatever about it, and you really think about what it actually mean, they're almost the same thing sometimes, or they go really, really well together. Like you can't have one without the other. Isn't that a song?
Can't have one without the ever. It's
Oh,
about
there.
marriage.
That's right. I knew it was a.
It's a TV show.
Oh man. That's also true. But it's
Okay,
just.
so go ahead.
No, you can go ahead.
No, what were you gonna say?
I don't know. That's
Okay. Well, I was gonna say, so it's funny because we both looked up TED Talks before this, and which we don't always go to TED Talks. Like we do research in different ways, but I felt like this was gonna be very TED Talk.
This was one that you needed to hear.
Yeah. And when I was looking up TED Talks, I was like, I need to go a route that Jessica won't go, because a lot of times we listen to the same ones, and it's good because we can both be like, we remember things that the other one doesn't. But I wanted to bring a totally different approach. So I found a different one. But I'm wondering, because you said you found a really good one. What?
Sometimes I search around and I click around and
I know. So I'm wondering if we still ended up the same or if we ended up different. So anyway, you said you had one that was mind-blowing.
I didn't write down any names or anything, so I felt kind of bad because it was like 3 or 4 or 5.
Oh.
But this one, well, so it was like it like opened up my mind, but I don't know if we need to like talk a little more about the subject first or not. But she was saying, I think it was like
not the same. Mine was a guy.
She was saying like it was like the title of it was something like the one thing that you need to do to change whatever it is or something, or to take responsibility.
Really
I don't know. I don't remember. I can look it up.
That one.
I can look it
the
up.
one thing you need to do something good or something.
I know, it's terrible. Let me look it up.
I really do like those earrings. Good job, Emmeline.
History. Oh, increase your self-awareness with one simple fix. This is Tasha Urich.
What is the one simple fix?
Simple fix is that instead of asking why, which at first I was like, but like to get introspective, you need to understand the why behind things. Mm-hmm. But instead of asking why, asking what. And that really is the self-awareness and personal responsibility key is not, I mean, it's good to understand why, but that she said when you're asking why, you get trapped. And one of her like research things that she did was widowers, let's say, a week into being a widow because they've asked why and they kind of like, figured out for themselves, they're in a better, like they're able to like carry on and be in a better place a week later. But a year later, they're still asking why and they're trapped. Instead, you want to ask what. And she had some other examples that were really good. They were on the tip of my tongue and I forget. But when you're asking, so like if you're in a job and you get like a bad performance review, instead of saying, oh, why does my boss hate me so much? Why did I get this review? You need to think, what can I do to improve this review? What can I do to make this a better performance review next time? So that's moving you forward into action instead of having to get trapped in the introspection of why. So I still think that the why is important. I think it's good to know why something happened and or why you are doing things the way you're doing it, but don't get trapped there. You then need to move on to the what. Like the why is going to help give you more what to do and what action to take. So I thought that was a really little piece.
Yeah. So, okay, let's dive into self-awareness a little bit. Because I think there's two sides of self-awareness. I feel like one side is that people are very selfish and they think that they are always right and they walk through life thinking that the world is wrong, their thought process is right, and no one can adjust that. And so in that regard,
do you really think that those people are self-aware though?
No. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying there's two approaches to self-awareness is what I mean. So like I don't think those people are self-aware at all. I think we all fall on one side of the spectrum or the other. So I think I have moments of being that way. Even like that's a very extreme situation, but like my husband will come home and he'll say something along the lines of um, what did you do today? And I will lose my ever living shit in him because I hear, what did
You just
do
said it right.
today? Nothing happened. Everything is exactly as I left it. So you did absolutely nothing. And I get super defensive about that because I'm selfishly thinking like, excuse me, do you even understand how much I did today? Do you know how many diapers I changed? Do you know how many tantrums I handled? Blah, 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 blah. Like that's the more like selfish, I am right, you are wrong. How dare you walk into my household and ask me what I did today? You have no idea. I can promise you that Jay never asks that phrase ever again when he walks in because I have actually lost it on him, which is not great. The other side of the self-awareness gauge is the people who think about themselves a lot in regards to, okay, well, I like this person doesn't like the color blue and I wore blue today, so this person probably hates me. And what was I thinking? I shouldn't have worn blue. I should have taken responsibility and worn red. That was so dumb of me. Like that's the other side. But I think self-awareness is also lacking there because you are in that situation, you're more obsessed over failure than actually being like aware and taking responsibility that like it's okay. I'm not personally trying to hurt them. If they take it personally, that's on them, not
their
me.
personal responsibility.
Yeah. Yes. So I think like that, I was really reflecting on self-awareness this morning and I was like, I think there's two sides. And I mean, I can be guilty of both for sure in different ways. So.
Well, it's funny that you said the two sides because it kind of goes with that same woman. She said in the research that they did, and what they were doing was they called them the unicorns. They were looking for the people who were really, truly, healthily self-aware. In the research, they found that 95% of people think that they are self-aware, but only 10 to 15% of those people actually are.
Wow. Hey,
And I think this other quote.
That's less than unicorns, or that's more than unicorn statistics. So.
Oh, okay.
That's my positivity.
I think this other quote was from her, and it kind of is like what you just said, that self-awareness is the ability to see ourselves clearly, who we are, where we fit in the world, and it can give us power, like the good.
Yeah.
So it was almost like what you'd said just before kind of sounded like that. I felt like, here, give a TED Talk.
I'm giving it. Watch out! Here's my TED Talk. Yeah. Yeah, power. That's
And so
something that is. Go ahead.
You can finish that.
Oh, I was just gonna say, power is like to me. Sometimes the thought of power is scary. So like, you almost want to like shirk away. Like, oh, I can't be self-aware if it gives me power.
No, but it's
because
it's the like healthy power. It's the power. It's the power of confidence. Like knowing who you are, knowing who you are in the world and how you affect the world. And sometimes how people see you, but being able to say it's not my responsibility how other people see me either.
Yeah.
It's their responsibility how they see me. But it was interesting. One of the first TED Talks I listened to was this woman. It was about like personal responsibility and self-awareness. And then it took a very dark turn, but then I listened to it all the way through and I understood where it was going with, because she was talking about
I hate when that happens. Like you're like, oh, positive something, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh God, what am I in?
But I mean, she wasn't dark for how she talked about it, but she was sexually abused at 15 by like her chorus teacher. And she realized after that she was in this victim mentality. And then I realized, oh, personal responsibility, self-awareness, and victimhood are all related. Because yes, that's an incredibly terrible thing that happened to her. And she is valid in saying this awful thing happened to me, and it happened to me. It's not her fault. There's zero responsibility there on her. But it's the after that. It's growing after that. Because she said that, then she went to college, but she just felt she still had low self-esteem. She didn't feel like she was going to go anywhere in her life. Like she picked bad relationship after bad relationship. And at that point, and it is hard to hear because it's like she went through a really terrible thing at 15. That's life changing. But then it's up to you, and you have full responsibility and power to go forward and make better choices. Like, it's not that was a choice of hers, but you don't have to let that define the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's hard to put that into words because it sounds so awful. Like, these things that were terribly happened to you, especially if you're a child, like you were the victim of that crime or whatever happened, but you don't have to be a victim for the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. You can use that to say, hey, I'm in charge of my life. One, I will never let that happen again because it's my body, my life. Two, like, I can go empower others and hear about it and share my story and help other people. So I think a lot of, and I don't want to like go down the victimhood path, but I think a lot of people really don't realize it and feel like victims and talk like victims and don't even know that they're doing that to themselves. And it's like this internal and sometimes external talk. And really this is not happening to you.
Yeah.
Not like a bad relationship or a shitty job situation or a terrible mood that day is not happening to you. It's completely in your power to choose how you see it and how you react to it and what action you
take. I think that so I don't remember. I feel like I got this from I actually think I got this worksheet from the same crazy scarf lady therapist.
See, she did something good. You weren't a victim to her. You got something out of it. Bam.
She's funny. But it was this worksheet that talked about like the 3 levels or like the 3 types of people around the victim idea. So there's the victim, and then there's I don't remember, I think the word was like persecutor, like the person that's being not nice to the victim.
The person that maybe gave them that victimhood in the first place.
Yeah.
What is
Something just fell off the bed and I didn't know why. Do you see it moving?
It sounds like I hear birds too.
The cat got in the blanket.
Wait, is that your guys' room? Or is that your extra? Oh, nice.
This is our room. I mean, it's not really all together, but it's it's the loft upstairs. Anyway, sorry. Got distracted by the shaking blanket. Okay, so there's the victim, the persecutor, I think, I don't know. The person not nice to the victim, and then I don't remember what they called this person either. I felt like they called them the wolf, but maybe it's the martyr. I don't know. The person that wants to save the victim from the persecutor. And so it made me think of like in my own life, it made me think of my mom who like often will play victim. And then at the time, like I thought my stepdad was so mean and I was the one that had to come in and save the day. And so, and then like each role can be, I don't, oh man, I wish I had looked into this deeper, but I didn't expect to go down here. Anyway, they all can kind of like fall into one of the other places too. Like it's a cycle, and the point is to break out of the cycle in total.
Yeah.
So my point in saying all of that is that even if you don't feel like, even if you know a victim and you're like, I don't play victim, I don't like to play victim, like we all have these moments of playing victim. And it's really, I think that is a matter of like not taking it's placing blame instead of taking responsibility. And so for me, like I go to the martyr role all the time. Like that is my go-to role. But I still will blame the persecutor, or then I'll blame the victim for taking the victim role. And then I'll be like, look at what that did to me. Like, how could that have all look at like if my stepdad wouldn't have said that to my mom, if my mom would have stood up for herself, then I would have been so much better off, when like that's just me playing the victim. So I think we can fall into the victim role even if we don't think So that's why
I
it's
used to play
important
victim big time in my own head
in
before
your
I
own head.
started like, and I
You
might
talk to
have, I
yourself.
mean, I don't know, I might have, well, like, in like when I used to, before my self-development, self-improvement days, and I was an optimistic, positive person still, like I said a million times, but in my own head, I was thinking, why am I living this life? Like, why am I going through this? Why is this happening to me? That's like the biggest victim
Mm-hmm.
quote. When once I started turning around and saying, okay, this isn't happening to me, number one. Number two, it's all about how I'm perceiving it and then putting it out into the world, and I can change that. And then that's when everything started.
So this brings me to my TED Talk. I listened to a TED Talk called How to Not Take Things So Personally.
I almost
And
listened to that one, I think, or something like
I did it.
I didn't have
I
time.
got all right.
Oh no, I didn't have time.
Well, you listened to 5 others, so I think you made time for what you needed.
I did.
So he was a cute little German guy. He sounded German. And he said that he took on the role of a football referee, so it was soccer for us American folk. He
Wait, literal he was a referee, or that's
like
how he would act?
both.
Okay.
He acted like a referee in the TED Talk, and then he said that he got this job, and he said it wasn't for the money because they make €20 a game or a match, which is nothing. But he said he specifically sought out that job so he could learn to not take things personally, because everyone's a terror to the referee, the fans, the team, and the coaches. And so he wanted to learn to take things less personally, which I thought was really cool. And so he had two key takeaways. Like, they always keep their takeaways small. Yours was 1, mine was 2. So his key takeaways were, it is like if somebody like does something, like if you do something and somebody has a bad reaction from it, like, you're going too slow as you're driving and they lay on the horn, or your boss calls you in and isn't happy with your performance, whatever the case may be. Takeaway number 1 is it's not about you. Why is that guy laying on his horn? Maybe he had a bad day. Maybe he's in a hurry. Maybe his wife is having a baby. Like, there's some other greater reason. And whether it's a good reason or a bad reason, it's not on you. Like, your ego is talking if you think that it is about you. And like he said, would you rather be right or happy? And like, basically, and then he said, I know everyone wants to be, they're happy when they know they're right. But it's just like what I was saying before. Like, I know when Jay comes home, all he asks is, what did you do today? And I instantly take it personally. Like, even if he did mean it poorly, like, that's on him, because if he doesn't see what I've done throughout the day, which he totally does, and this is not a real situation with my husband, but if he didn't get my value, like, that doesn't matter, because I'm still valuable. I still took care of the kids. I changed all those diapers. If he doesn't see that, maybe he had a bad day at work. Maybe he's stressed out about something else. Like, I don't have to take it personally. But then the other side is, it is about you, which I loved. Like, his 2 takeaways where it's not about you and it is about you. And he said, because on the flip side of it, if it's something that really stings you, it must be a hint of truth. So, like, if he were to say you are an orange, you wouldn't be offended because you're not an orange. But if you were a redhead,
unless I had terrible suntan.
Right. Yes, then you might take it personally.
And then I'd be like, oh shoot.
Right, because there's a hint of truth to it. And that was exactly his point. Like, you're not going to take something personally unless there's a hint of truth. And if there is, like, if it's striking a nerve with you, then that's when it's time for some self-evaluation, some self-reflection, some like self-awareness. And
that's where you say, why did I react like that? Okay, that's
Mm-hmm.
why. Now what am I going to do about it?
I do. Exactly. And one of his recommendations for a what, which is like one of my favorite recommendations always, is to, if you're taking something personally that someone says to you, be vulnerable about that and talk to them and say, hey, you know what? Like, that struck a nerve with me. And I think it's because of this. Can we work on that together? And if that
and not
person
take it back on them, because
right. Yes. Yeah, that's yeah, that's I was like, wait, my notes said that. Because yeah, he said if you're vulnerable without blaming the other person, you open up room for like understanding versus irritation, which I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if the other person had malintent or not. If you're able to open up and say, hey, you know, when you said that to me, I felt blank, and I think it's because blank, and it's on you, taking personal responsibility. Even if they have any sort of something to do with it, that's up to them to handle, not for you to.
Yeah. Yeah. And like on the flip side, if that person can't handle your vulnerable, then they can't even handle saying the word vulnerable.
I've been reading all about it.
What? What is that from?
What did you say?
I said send them out to the fishes, which was my interpretation of a mob boss that says like let them swim with the fish, but it came out let them swim, whatever I said.
Swim with the fishes. Put them out with the fishes. Take them out. Take them out to the fishes.
Man, I would make such a good mob boss. You can tell I'm part Italian, can't you?
I thought you were.
Yeah. Lots of people thought my dad was, for real. I don't.
People joke about my dad because he's like the Jersey guy and he wears the hat and the leather jacket.
The nicest guy in the world. Yeah. That's it. Anyway, what was I saying? Vulnerability. Oh,
vulnerability.
If you find yourself being willing to open up and be vulnerable with someone, then and they don't receive it well, then again, that's not on you. That's on them. And hey, you tried.
That also teaches you that maybe that's not someone who you need to be vulnerable with.
Yeah, and that's hard, especially if that someone is your spouse, because some spouses can't take it. They don't know how to take the vulnerability because a lot of times they're playing victim. They're instantly thinking that you're attacking them, even if you come at it without blame, without any ill intent.
So my thing with if it's like a spouse is if it happens that way and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't be vulnerable with them, because I've definitely had those moments before. It's obviously they have some stuff to do, and that's okay. And you can't make them, and you shouldn't tell them that. But I still think with a spouse, you can continue to be vulnerable and open, because that's you working on you. And you continue to do it because you should. And if you feel like you really, really can't with your spouse, then there's a bigger issue there. But the way to help someone that close to you eventually do the work too, maybe, is by showing them that you're going to keep showing up and doing the work.
Yeah.
And not telling them they have to, not leading them, but leading by example.
Yeah. And hopefully that'll eventually influence them enough to make a change.
And not expect that they're going to change.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard.
Super.
I've been reading Brené Brown's Dare to Lead.
What? You're reading Brené Brown?
I know. Well, the funny thing is I've never actually read one of her books all the way through. So I've listened to her, and I've listened to like the abridged versions of her book and all of her TED Talks and podcasts and like everything else. So I've never actually sat down and read one of her books. So that's on my to-do list, is reading all of her books and reading all of Jen Sincero's books again, because I just love them and feel like I can really benefit by doing that and like diving deep. But in Dare to Lead, it like takes two of her books and like puts them together into how to be a great leader and vulnerable and authentic leader. And the first exercise is your square squad. This is kind of getting off topic, but I just had to bring it up. Okay. You take the tiniest little white square, and it says, we need to trust to be vulnerable, and we need to be vulnerable in order to build trust. Write the names of the people whose opinions really matter to you within this square. You can only write how many fit, and you don't need to be writing all tiny. So only the people, and that's your square squad. That's like your people that you know you can always trust, always go to, always be vulnerable with. And it goes more into it in the book, but
I like that.
We were kind of on that topic. So
your square squad.
And I really, really like, of course, like immediately people popped into my mind, but then I was like, I like really thought longer. I was like, is that? And then it ended up being that they really were. What's that? What is?
Some guy taking a free dresser off the curb and very frustrated that he can't open his door. That guy. Poor guy. He needs a hug.
Don't be a victim.
I give you a hug from here, sir.
Yeah, I'll give you a hug from here too. Power
shooting. Is he a delivery guy? He's about to scan something. Oh, I feel bad for that guy. Anyway, so vulnerability helps you to know how, and then so that also, like, being vulnerable and being like how that can open up like what's really going on inside of you. I think that it's really good to check in with all of that stuff. And so maybe you're in a place where you are pretty mentally healthy and emotionally healthy and physically healthy, like, oh, you're checking all the boxes. I feel like we always, like, if we're still breathing, we still have something we can work on, is my thought. Like, if we've checked all the boxes, then we are probably going to drop dead because we've got it all. So maybe the thought of dropping dead scares the heck out of you. That's a box we can open up and explore. So
yes, it's something I wanted to cover in therapy.
There you go. So I think that it's definitely a scary task to, I think there's surface level self-awareness, like being understanding of like, hey, maybe I should be more conscious of those around me. Maybe I should be a little bit more compassionate and not think of myself first. Or maybe I shouldn't take things so personally and let it be okay that I wore blue today. But then there's the deeper stuff that's like, okay, like, I am petrified of dying. What is that about? And diving into it, because there's been things throughout my life that I've been petrified of, and when I approach it head on, it's very scary.
A hawk just flew like right by the window.
What did?
A hawk just like came swooping down from my roof and flew by the window and up.
Ooh.
Oh, they're
checking my window.
There's two of them. Oh, maybe they're looking at the cat.
Oh no. Don't eat the cat. Don't eat the cat.
There's two of them.
But anyway, so it's really hard to, it's petrifying. It is petrifying to dive into that stuff that petrifies you, because you don't know what's going to come up. But from my own personal experience, I can tell you that it's like whatever comes out of it is usually a step in the right direction, which is what I think that's why we're afraid to take the leap, because it's scary to see what could happen if we explore that. But usually exploration of that, like, yeah, it could hurt at the moment. Yeah, it could be really uncomfortable in the moment, but you always get through it. You're not going to be a sobbing mess forever unless you're stuck in the why. But again, like, if you're looking at it in a healthy perspective, you should hopefully be able to get out of the unhealthy why, what's going on, petrification.
That's the word.
Yeah, but isn't it like having to do with fossils and not being petrified?
Probably.
When I edit and I realize I've made up words, I get so mad, and I try to like make it to where you can't.
You gotta be vulnerable. It's okay. Be vulnerable in our mistakes. It happens. We're human too. What? Yeah, I mean, being stuck is far more terrifying than going through it to get to the other side.
But it feels more comfortable. It feels less terrifying in it.
Oh, it's comfortable, but when you think about it, really, it's more terrifying.
Yeah, but like in the middle of it, your brain is telling you, like, this is comfortable. Don't do something uncomfortable. That's not going to be any good for you. So your brain seeks comfort, and it seeks repetitive behavior to stay comfortable. but you've got to, once you break from it, then you're even more free. Like in the Jen Sincero book that I was listening to, even though it was all about money, she was saying, like, if you're staying in a job that you're unhappy with, because like, what if you can't get something better? What if, what if this is all you're good at? Whatever the case may be, like, you're going to be stuck at that job forever. And you're going to look back and be like, well, that sucked. But if you are able to take the risk to break out of that job, then you get a better job. And you're like, oh my gosh, I was an idiot at that last place. What was I thinking that was my forever? I think that's the same with every thought in life. Like if you think
I've
that
been there
it's
so many
better,
times.
yeah, if you think it's better to just sit in your bowl of I'm fine and I don't actually need to address this really pressing situation that I keep thinking about constantly, I'm going to hide it under this bowl and never lift that bowl. It's really not. Like once you lift it, it's going to be scary. A bat might fly out and your heart will race until you capture the bat and put it where it needs to be. But once it's where it needs to be, whew, it feels so much better. That bat is at the zoo. That guano is not stinking at my house anymore. And that is my TED Talk. What am I talking about?
I don't know.
Anyway, do we have a game for today?
I don't think there's a game.
I don't think so either.
I think we did it.
A gamey topic.
No, it's not. But we have so much in store this month. I'm really excited for all of it.
Yeah, me too.
I do. I want to end on a quote, and I think this was from the first woman that I listened to.
Okay, whatever her name is about that one thing. It's fine.
Her name is Joelle Castix, The Power of Responsibility.
Okay.
Bam. She said, it's not the moments that define us, but the choices and reactions that make us who we are.
Sorry. I need you to say that again because I was thinking about how I almost watched that one and how we almost watched the same one, but we didn't. And then I didn't listen to the quote at all.
You're such a jerk.
I was like, I wonder what I would have got out of that one. I'd still want to watch that one. And then I was thinking about how you said you had time and I didn't have time.
I get terrible when I delve into TED Talks. I'm like, I need to add all these to a playlist and watch them one day. But then there's just so many. It's like, but it's not the moments that define us, but the choices and reactions that make us who we are.
Now that I heard it, I like it.
Kind of sums it all up.
Sure does.
It's up to us. It's our personal responsibility to react to any situation how we want to react and the identity that we want to have and how we want to feel and go.
And if you feel like you are having a hard time with the way that you react to things, or you're having a hard time getting a grasp on changing your mentality, or you don't even know where to start, Jessica and I would love to help you. We have Life in Balance, which is a 30-day program that not only adds time to your day, but it sets you up with a morning routine so that you approach your day from a more healthy perspective. And when life throws you curveballs, you're able to catch them a little bit easier and know what to do with them, or at least know that you don't have to take it personally, or you don't have to result to stress instead of emotional wellness. Every morning, Monday through Friday, you get a guided meditation that is very short. It's for beginners, and that helps your mind get to a place where you can be more self-aware, you can learn to let things go, and you can breathe more often through your day. So, plus there's also really cool things like a customized planner, 90 extra minutes of self-care, things of that nature.
Your schedule made for you.
Your schedule planned so you don't have to think about it. All and coaching and one-on-one conversations with me and Jessica. But if you want to learn more, check out the link in the show notes and reach out to us. We'll answer any questions.
And if you would like to be a part of one of our episodes, we are always taking sound clips of our listeners and our fans of what it means to them to be strong. So just send us a clip to podcast@inrawlife.com with a sound clip of saying being strong means or strength to me means, and you just might make it at the beginning of an episode.
I didn't do the well. I don't know where to start the music now. Because I wasn't going to start the music on
and then,
the
then you put it in order how you want.
Okay, fine. My recycle man is here. You're going to hear it. Oh, that's perfect time for starting the music. Right. Well, thanks for joining us. Cue the music. But sincerely, thank you for joining us, and thank you for always coming back. We really appreciate all that. I mean, can you hear that? It's just glass.
You always have a garbage can. Always.
I do.
You moved.
I know.
Up
and now
the East Coast.
we changed our date. We changed our day, our time, and I'm completely shifted location. And
it's not happening to us. Just what are we going to do about it?
And that is the last blooper. So whoever edits it, put that at the very end. Anyway, well, thanks for joining. I can't even do it. Whew. Thanks for joining us and for continuing to come back week after week, year after year. We sincerely love making a difference in your lives, in anybody's life we can. Anybody who will listen. It makes us really happy. I am crazy right now.
I don't even know what you're saying anymore, to be honest. I zoned out.
You got mad at me when I zoned out. Ooh, okay. Thank you for always coming back and listening to our show. We love having you here. And we would love it if you shared the show. So please go do all the things we mentioned earlier. Like, subscribe, review, share us, help our podcast to grow so we can reach more people. And you already did the, yeah. Okay. I don't know if you want to say that part again.
No. Until next week, we hope that you delve into yourself and your thoughts and look at what you are thinking, and if you're living in victimhood, or I don't know what the opposite would be, but not taking personal responsibility.
Persecutordom. Oh, the opposite of, I thought it was.
Yeah.
No, the self-awareness.
Victim or victor, but I really hope that you take the advice of the TED Talk that I listened to and don't get trapped in the why, but move forward with the what. And I sincerely thank you from both Sierra and I for coming.
Battery.
Bye.
As soon as you said that, my phone went shoom and went back because my battery's dying. Oh, it was so perfect. Nice. Okay.
Our TED Talk.
Stop the madness. Stop it. Don't forget to stop the YouTube, but don't forget to not hang out.
Don't take up.